When you're in a National Security Council meeting like that, walk us through what it feels like. How is the information presented to the president? Does he bring in, the intelligence staff, or is it high level? Is it casual conversation? Put us in the room, as best you can.
Yeah. So everybody that's sitting at that table with the President of the United States has access to an extraordinary amount of information through their own networks, through the U.S. intelligence community, through the Department of Defense, through Homeland Security, through international partnerships and relationships like Marco Rubio as an example, in some of the diplomatic conversations that I'm sure that he's had with leaders around the world, as well as President Trump. The Vice President is also a player in these as well. These are really critical moments. The ambassadors in the region are probably on secure video teleconferencing systems to be able to get real-time, on-the-ground, information and intelligence, as well as the ability for Trump, if he needs to make a phone call to any world leader, he can do it right then and there at that moment. So at the fingertip feel in an environment like that, the president has an extraordinary amount of information. Now, the challenge is going to be on-the-ground intelligence in Iran for where's the head of the Iranian people at, right? I mean, we're seeing all kinds of videos coming out where they're clapping for the Israeli attacks. They're rising up, but are they ready to go ahead and sacrifice to basically overturn the regime that's still in charge right now, still appears to be in charge, although there's been reports of 3 aircraft that have flown into Oman in the last probably 12 hours. One of those aircraft, I'm told, is the presidential aircraft from Tehran. So there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of movement going on. Does Israel have the capacity to continue to wage this campaign that they're involved in with the ability to respond to what appear to be thousands, at least 1,000 of these ballistic missiles? And I just posted something at Jen Flynn just to give some people some of the capabilities and the ranges of what these missiles are capable of doing. Remember, you have China is right there. North Korea has a stockpile of these type of ballistic missiles, and we know the North Koreans, they provided some of this ordnance to Russia. So who's to say that they can't divert some of these into Iran? And maybe they have done this in the past, 6 months or so. So there's some other intelligence gaps that we're going to have, that the president's going to have when he's trying to make these types of decisions. One of the things that I'm very concerned about is I'm concerned about the way that the intelligence, and particularly the intelligence community, will shape the narrative going to the president of the United States. This is where Tulsi Gabbard, who I'm a big fan of, she's going to have great discernment. She's going to have to give her own gut feel on this. And there are going to have to be experts. I can tell you, I worked with many of them down at the U.S. Central Command when I was the senior intelligence officer for U.S. Central Command. Some of the best intelligence personnel in the arsenal of the United States intelligence community are sitting down at Tampa. So I guarantee that the commander, Eric Kurilla, General Kurilla, is also going to be on a secure video teleconference with the President of the United States at this moment, as well as Pete and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. You're going to have possibly military leadership from the region that will likely be on a secure video teleconference with the President of the United States. So the president is going to gather and take in all of this information. Typical Trump, he'll go around and if you're in that room, he's going to go around and ask you, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? He's going to take it all in, synthesize it, and then he's going to make a decision. And the one thing that he will make a decision on, and like he says, unconditional surrender, he will make a decision that will ensure, trust me on this, it will ensure that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon while he's the president of the United States. They will never have a nuclear weapon, and I guarantee that that's going to be the case. So if that has to be the commitment of a particular capability to have such a destructive effect on whether it's Fordow or some other place, Trump will make that decision. He will make that decision. The other thing is all this talk about military, another military quagmire in the Middle East. Hey, folks, we're already in the Middle East. We provide billions of dollars. We provide military forces. We provide all kinds of training and equipment and education to every single Arab country in that region. Never mind having headquarters and our own military footprint already there. So we're already there. We're already there. So stop it. Stop it with we don't need another. Yeah, we don't need to be sending military divisions and Marine regiments. We don't need to be sending large numbers of troops. We do need to make sure that we are protecting our own people that are in those embassies and in some of the basing that we do have in that region. That's got to happen. That's the responsibility of the President of the United States. There is commitment of great naval force capabilities. I think we're on our third aircraft carrier battle group. That's a big deal. Those are big commitments, whether it's in the Eastern Med, whether it's in the Arabian Sea, whether it's in the Persian Gulf. So with those capabilities come extraordinary arsenals and capabilities. So I want people to understand that Trump has got a big decision. Jack, I'll turn it back to you. And I know we've got short on time.
And General Flynn, as we look at this decision, so let's take U.S. capabilities, considerable as they are. We're now hearing, by the way, the breaking news that I just wanted to throw out is that we're hearing that a third aircraft carrier may now be making its way to the region, not in the Persian Gulf, but in the East Med, so off the coast of Israel. And the question that I have, though, let's say Israel and Iran, just their capabilities back and forth. People are watching these salvos take off. Israel is flying the air sorties. Iran is firing missiles. But is this something that can go on indefinitely? President Trump tweeted using, of course, the royal we control the skies above Tehran. But is this something go on indefinitely, or are we witnessing a sort of war of air attrition between Iran and Israel?
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it, Jack. It cannot go on indefinitely. The capacity of these nations, they do not have the capacity to continue this forever, right? So at some point in time, you're going to see a diminishing capability and a diminishing capacity from both countries. Now, in terms of Israel, if Israel continues to get the support from the United States of America, there's an awful lot that we can do. We got to look at what are the Chinese doing? What are the North Koreans doing? What are the Russians doing? I understand that Putin also put out a statement, very strong statement today about U.S. involvement in the Middle East. So I haven't seen the formal statement yet, but I understand that came out earlier today. So we'll have to wait and see what does that mean. So the capacity doesn't exist to continue this thing. One of the things that Israel has done in Iran is they've gone after the targeting mechanisms, the ability to be able to precisely launch these missiles at specific targets. And that's why you see a lot of the missiles that are coming out of Iran are hitting civilian targets. And they're doing it partly on purpose, but also because these are not precision-guided munitions. These are not precision-guided capabilities. These are now launched in a particular direction on a particular azimuth, on a launch direction, and they're going to just hit whatever targets they hit. So they're going to hit a lot of civilian targets, where the Israelis, on the other hand, are going after military infrastructure and infrastructure that is part of the military-industrial complex of Iran. And that's why you're not hearing screaming about numbers of civilians that the Israelis are killing, but you're seeing Iranians killing and targeting civilians.